about to note it, like bring that up, I suppose, and be like, okay, so he's changing up, but perhaps because he saw there was Hydras. But no, just going for all of the, I guess, the gas and income into actual fighting units, trying to take this perhaps off of creep as well from decent force field. Slightly missed on actually capturing more lings, but he's going to take what he can get, and there you have that hovering around the edge of creep, hoping that Dark runs off of it, and without enough units. Force field still in play, but the Zealots happily hug those Banelings.
So it's kind of scary to attack in. Hero does leave the door open. He always leaves the door open. This is a classic Hero move. Whether or not damage gets done is always another story, though, because he's so quick on his warp-ins. And as you can see, the Zergans that walk in there often do regret it. 5 probes, not bad. He's going to try and bust the base in the bottom left. This would be a huge pickoff if he could get it. Great spread on the cannons. The probes!
Yeah, a little late to the Pro Pool right there. 11 have gone down, which is not too terrible, especially because the rest of Dark's army is being pushed back. Even an Oracle helping against Hydra is not too often you see that. 29 Probes gone down, make that 35 as the natural. Well, that is one of the problems, leaving that door open. Sometimes the handful of Lings, that's a no big deal. Sometimes it's some Banelings that kill your entire economy. The Protoss, only plus 2 melee for Dark, but coming in with the Banelings as well. Again, the probes, they've got no place to go. They're locked out, or locked in rather, and 11 more go down as the 5th base, also under assault, at least does get canceled, but Dark is all over the place, and Hero is the one that's trying to keep up.
Wow, the Hydra Bane swarming in from every single side. It is indeed a semi-finals at a premier event, and that is where Dark does show up. Lings are in every single mineral line. This is a disaster for Hero.
Yeah, he's lost 50 plus probes. He blinks into Hydra Baneling, and that Baneling down is going to be good enough to kill a handful of Stalkers, which, I mean, there's going to be more beyond that, right? Like, he doesn't need to worry about really defending. 50 armors way to 80, maybe in a really, really, really cool scenario. Hero can bring this back purely off of that army supply, but Dark has time. He can actually buy a lot more, I would say, by pulling those drones. Letting the hatcheries die, absolutely. Building up Ling, Baneling, Hydra, or even just Ling, Hydra. And Hero, I guess, is going to say, well, at least I got that much, and pull back home. But back home, the 26 probes. That's really it. 3 of them, and is looking for something even a bit more than last time, which he got 6 drones last time. Wasn't bad.
I mean, there's Queens, there's Spores. This is perfect defense. And Dark was so late back onto gas this game. He has played such a greedy build, just pure economy focus. Dark normally doesn't play like this. If he can lure the Queens out here, then the Zealots can jump on them. But Dark doesn't take the bait. Here we go, Zealots and Adepts going to start to dive in. Phoenix already disabling one of those Banelings morphing. The Queens, though, are about to get assaulted.
Yeah, the 2 Oracles don't really want to tango right now. The Banelings are about to finish and we'll clear out this first wave of Zealots, but what about the second wave? What about the third one? It is coming across field. The Proxy Pylon only warping in, slow Zealots. Is this actually going to get the momentum that Hero is looking for? So far, it is not. The Banelings just doing enough. The Queens barely living. The Oracles will not come into play this game. And the third one actually gets misrallied in. And it looks like Dark has figured out how committed this is, right? So he's going to continue flooding Lings and trying to build up his Queens. I mean, he does have a decent economy that he can even pull maybe some drones in a last-ditch effort, but Hero needs to get some momentum right here, right now. And anytime there's no Banelings, that's when you really believe in the charge loss.
He'd kill for a Roach Warren right now with Dark because he needs to just survive, and Roaches would be perfect, but the Queens are holding on strong. The Transfuse has been fantastic. Hero not having any proxy, no Warp Prism, no forward warp-in point. This timing just was not powerful enough, even though Dark went up about 15 or more workers on him. The Zealots are getting held. There is a lot of Oracles out. Hero is not that far behind in the workers, but he has been defended and is forced into Plan B.
You know, also the Immortal's not exactly what you would want. Storm is also not done, by the way, so I'm not sure. Did he think he was getting Storm at some point? Because those High Templars only just merged into an Archon. This is really awkward. Hero is on a stacked defense, but it's already been blown up by the Banelings. The Probes also just dangerously close to being blown up. But it's the 4th base that's also under attack. Everything's under attack. Hero has split his army as best he possibly could. There just wasn't much army to split.
Yeah, and you can see the damage output of those Hydralisks when they get on top. Just far too many units there for Dark. Hero trying to make his way towards the late game and recover, but the early hold on that sneaky Zealot attack was too good. Unable to deal with it, even though he sold Dark a story. Dark is just rock solid today.
Stage, so don't, not take it seriously. But this is going to be a 4th base cancel.
Yeah, and he's supply blocked right now. Hero with a little bit of a mistake there. He's going to try and push forward at the front to punish it. Those Stalkers warping in, but they're going to go down as well. That's a kill, not a cancel. And a big mistake here for Hero. But he pushes forward on the front. Does he manage to grab any of those Queens? No, not really. Zerglings massing on out. Does get one of the Queens now. Zerglings running in, but they are getting cleared up on the 3rd base. Hero does get a bit of damage done. He's forcing this game to become chaotic. That is the section where he tends to do well, but with no fourth base, he doesn't have that economic growth that usually spells destruction for the Zerg. 5 range, they move very slowly, especially off creep. Fourth base is coming up now for Hero. He's adding probes behind this. He has not continued his upgrades, though. There's no +2. It's a very committed Stalker push. He's trading pretty well here. The Baneling's not the best unit for this scenario. Great spread with the blinks there for Hero.
Yeah, and I think that might actually be it. There's always that tipping point where you're like, oh, it's just Stalkers. You know, how bad could it be? But this might just be that tipping point. Not enough to really defend those glass cannons, the Hydras, the Queens, kind of buying some shots, and also the Oracle's not able to contest like they usually do. But the amount of Stalkers, it just looks too much. The supply lead is in Hero's favor as he has 31 Stalkers to 10 Hydras. The drones are pulled as that last desperate attempt to provide the fodder for the Hydras, but I think Dark has finally been caught out, perhaps a little too greedy, perhaps expecting a bit different from the start. But Hero, he has something to say in this best of 5.
Indeed, he's not going to go down without a fight. And I'll tell you what, blinking back Stalkers, overwhelming his opponents. This is something that has won him a lot of championships, all the way back through Heart of the Swarm. And you can see that nod of the head. This was the confidence booster that he needed. He's back in the series.
Exactly.
The Oracle's aware of that Overlord, so the Nidus is going to go out front. Baneliness, Mass Zerglings, and Queens are on the way. Hero seems to be aware of what he's up against right now.
I think so. He's got a couple of shield batteries, but he might want some more just to make sure that he is safe. Blink and +1 will not be effective in these coming fights. A little ways to go there, and a nice from in the main base as well. Does Hero actually notice he did a great job of finding them out versus Lambo, but so far not so good. The Stalker's a little bit late to that main base. The third base under attack. The Queens are there to help out against the Oracle. Super battery to help out the Oracle specifically is maybe going to work out there. The natural has been held. The main is even letting anything out of that Nidus Worm, and Hero is starting the defense off well enough. As the Banelings finish up, they head for those probes, they head for the shield battery, they capture that, but more stack defense is on the way. The Queens are mostly gone, the Stalkers are still alive, and I do believe that Hero has held.
Hero, he read it so well.
Yeah, I think the fact that this happened to him kind of recently in this tournament does help you kind of mentally prepare for that, right? So you're kind of questioning, like, what does that lair mean? What is the real situation? And then maybe if you haven't really figured this out, or you haven't had it done to you, you might be like, oh, well, yeah, okay, well, now I know, hindsight 2020. But in this case, he seems so well prepared. He gets that wall up as well. More units are coming over to help, although those are a lot of lings, so it's got to be careful. But Blink is in play. Oh, okay. 10 probes do go down. But, I mean, that's still a very playable position for Hero. He starts up as +2, he's got his Robo on his way, and of course, still 3 Nexus to crank those probes out once again.
Hero's setting up for that right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a lot of Hydras. The Lings, there they come forward, and add some, I guess, just numbers to the mix, because even with Lings, they just can't do anything. Those force fields, such a bother. The hatchery could be targeted down. Oh, Zealot's getting in on top of the just pure Hydra. Can be effective there, too. Hero is trying to just slice and dice the army on the left. He'll get to that hatchery eventually, I guess is what he's saying, and he's probably right about that. He is missing some reinforcements, however, and that is getting a little concerning. But the stasis trap might be able to buy some time. No, okay, that's only a high.
The Zealots just keep flooding in on the bottom, though.
Yeah.
And that taxes Dark. As you said, he doesn't have a lot of the Banelings. He also doesn't have that many units to split off. And that leaves him undefended on the top. Hero blinks in decisively and shuts that one down. Is he on the way to the second reversal of his bracket run? He was down 0-2 versus Clem.
So I think that Dark is fine defensively, but Hero, whether he actually tries to push in more aggressively than you would expect, okay, blinks into the natural, or the would-be natural, I suppose, that is cute. He's at least going to hover around Dark's bases, and there is that kind of more aggressively placed fourth base as well. And you just got to make sure that he never gets surrounded accidentally, but with the positioning on Stargazers as it is, I don't think that is very likely, especially with a couple of force fields. And there's an aggressive link forward. Not enough Hydras to protect each other, and those Queens weren't taken on the front lines.
Groove Spine's finishing, very important defensive upgrade. That's +1 range, and those Hydras kicking in. They don't have augments just yet. Lots of tech coming down behind this for Dark. Right now, though, Hero just battering on the front door, seeing if he can find his way in. I think Dark's defense is very good.
He's actually mining this out. There's so many trips, by the way. There's so many trips to actually mine it out. It was 40 minerals apiece, so that's going to take a while. You know what would be even crazier if he actually put down shield batteries, but I would freaking love it. He goes into the main base. The evolution chamber maybe could be sniped in the future if Dark does take too long to respond. And Dark currently is forgetting the Hydra speed upgrade or purposefully omitting it, which might hurt him as this becomes more of a back and forth, up and down type of game.
Because it's much slower for him to reinforce to where he needs to be.
He's going to go for the push. The Oracle does get destroyed, so won't be able to tag what is coming behind it, and also won't be able to tag the Lurkers. Some of them do finish up, but they're a bit out of range, and they haven't burrowed quite yet. It's a very aggressive blink forward. Hero is certainly known for it, perhaps a bit too over-aggressive. The Hydra's ripping through some of his Stalkers, especially without the Guardian Shield activated here, and it looks like he might just have to evacuate this spot, but as I say it, he doubles down on a proxy pylon. +2 is about 25 seconds away from finishing, but new problem. Lurkers in play, and not a whole lot of detection to the main base, and even though the Stalkers could kind of skirt by, they do still take a lot of damage. +2 is going to finish up, but without the detection, the Lurkers will eventually be that line in the sand that Hero cannot cross. It's happening right back into this corner base, but Lurkers, still, I'm going to be saying that a lot right now. Lurkers really taking away some of the punch from Hero's Stalker and Zealot play.
Doing it in the back door of Hero. That's right, inside the in-base where Hero has no vision.
Yeah, he has absolutely zero vision. He's not even concerned about it. He's not thinking about it, and that is going to be absolutely deadly. Those Lurkers are going to burrow on top of a lot of his production. His +1 armor might just finish up in time, but the Nidus Worm, it screamed already. The Lurkers are there. Stalkers were actually caught off guard as Hero panic runs back home, knows he can't recall. He's going to try and warp in and maybe get some type of surround, but this is going to be so deadly going up his ramp. Does he actually have enough units? I'm so surprised he pushes up here. The Zealots get trapped in a choke as well, and Hero just didn't bring all of his army. Then Nidus Worm comes in, number 2, bringing in the Hydras, bringing in the Queens, and then Nidus Worm might just be what seals the deal for Dark.
You can't pin me back, mate. Locking down the defense and then diving across the map for a counter-offensive. Hero, Maze, just barely have the numbers, but no, those Lurkers are still standing strong. The Lurkers just crushing through. No detection left. The Oracle's out of energy. Hero has had his production breached, and with his production breached, there's just nothing he can do here. He's trying to make a few Archons, Immortals, anything again to hang on, but Dark is dead. Enough of getting stuck in my corner of the map. I am going to overwhelm.
Yeah, it was just something Hero had not had to deal with, really. The late game Nidus Worm with Lurkers, and when he went back home to deal with it, it was honestly just a sloppy defense. He was so eager to come home before the second Nidus Worm popped up that his army wasn't really all together, and then his own SimCity worked against them. Yeah, of course he had to stop it before the second Nidus Worm came up, but either way, he was in such a difficult position. Dark finally seals this best of 5, moving on to the grand finals of DreamHack Valencia.
How is he going to handle it when actually some of those Marines start showing them faces as well?
These Stalkers are pretty decently placed, and I mean, the Marine, it looks like it was just looking for the Adept. Okay, 2 Widow Mines do go down. Nice little spread, nice burrow to back it up. Every time you can deny mining like that, it's a great move. Creator's not reacting at all. Oh my goodness, that is not what you want to have happen. I was watching for Creator's face to see if he reacted. Not a flinch on him.
Prism is going to have an opportunity to now try and move into the main base. Let's see if Maru reacts, if he's going to pull anything back. He identifies that this is going to be an annoying attack, but he has a lot of Bioforces actually inside the main base. Widowmine also going off on some of these Zealots, and it seems like he's going to be able to continue the attack on the other side of the map. Force Field's locking out a lot of the Bioforces, but the Auto Turrets buying the space that the rest of the Bio needs to move forward. Siege Tank Siege a little bit too far back to actually get involved on attacking that Nexus, but the Bio doing a great job zoning this army back, and the shield battery has to be popped.
Oh, I mean, Creator, he's got the right units to deal with this. I mean, the Stalkers do blink on through, and they just take out one of the tanks. The second tank is staying alive for a long time. The Immortal wasn't focusing it, but he does deflect the attacks. Worked in Maru's favor there, and you can see him kind of hugging them just so the Zealots couldn't deal damage, but he could deal as much damage. And big juicy storm does land to start things off, and while it did deal damage and it keeps Maru away, that Warp Prism taking damage. That's actually a really big deal for later on in this game.
He's doing a great job with it. I love these Widow Mines just being spread out everywhere. They're softening up some of these Zealots, but Storm actually trying to zone out this army from moving up to the high ground. Disruptor Shot goes out, but the EMP Disruptor does not survive long enough to have an impact, and Archon getting taken out. Soon thereafter, the Nexus looks like it is going to end up falling. Creator doesn't really have the army he needs here to defend this base. And are moving a bit too far forward for those EMPs. But both these players being awfully patient about this, not taking the engagement unless they think that they can win it. And looks like Maru feels like with some good splitting, he might be able to do something over here. But there are so many Disruptor shots and Storms being added into the mix. Is there enough gateway to back up those splash damage units, though?
I don't think there is, Ravi. Here, look at that. All the Disruptors are out, and Maru, he smells blood in the water. He lands his Vikings. He's getting damage done. If he takes down this base, Creator's down to 4 bases, and yet again, but these some nice Disruptor shots, and you can tell, oh my goodness, that is so much Protoss Storm.
Yeah, he's trying to find that angle over here. A lot of these Liberators already sieged up and are going to be able to get a ton of shots off on some high target value units there. A couple of those Disruptors going to be falling very, very fast, and we end up seeing EMPs also coming off on those Stalkers, making it even easier for those Liberators to actually contend with their natural nemesis in this situation.
Okay, he's got him up the ramp. This is exactly where he wanted him. He was like a sheep herder, just sending him up there, and now Creator, he's looking at this and he's like, okay, you've actually got me exactly where you wanted, didn't you? And this is Maru being a little bit of a puppet master.
Ooh.
I love this. This is exactly what Creator needed to do, though. Come from two angles. Those Liberators, they can't turn around easily.
They definitely cannot. The Storm's actually stopping up so many of those Liberators as well. We end up seeing the rest of the army from Creator trying to move down that ramp through the Liberator zones. He manages to clean up a majority of the Liberators. The Bioforce still doing quite a lot of damage, but the Disruptors plus the Colossus on the back lines doing so much damage. Almost all of them end up falling. It's such a trade, but Creator looks like he's going to be a lot further down supply at the end of it.
The only thing he has to answer them are the Stalkers. And if he fights this from just one angle, he's in a lot of trouble. But Creator, I like this. Forcing his opponent to siege up and then running away and using the Disruptors to deal the damage for you. It's a very smart way of trying to engage this. And it's his way of trying to trade more efficiently in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great sort of solution to this style that Maru has been going for with all of these Liberators. And the fact that he's doing it in the middle of the map is extremely important. He's not in a situation where you can't move back at all. And ooh, great storm there from the Warp Prism High Templar combo. Disruptor also contained to zone this army back. He's both creating a little bit of room for himself so that he can move back a little bit as soon as those Liberators start sieging up. But, you know, he's also regaining that room. It's the dance back and forth, but he's controlling the center.
Actually, he was using that pillar to great effect, right? The Liberators can only defend one side at a time. Takes out an orbital for his troubles. He's the one that needs a little bit of time.
That was a little bit rough, but the Mothership survives, as do a majority of those high-value Protoss units. This is becoming a little bit of a choke point to try and engage around, and in some ways it's going to favor those Liberators, but it also makes it complicated for the Bio to move forward against the Disruptors. Mothership is going to end up falling right then and there, so all the little advantages he was getting from that going to be going away. No more scans going to be forced on out, and Maru is gaining a lot more ground with this pushing in. Creator not able to push him back, and even the Tempest having a hard time getting those free shots off.
The fight already probably going to get sniped down very quickly, but Creator is actually chasing him up a ramp here. I don't hate it, but purely because there's no liberation zones, but Maru, he is ready to pounce now.
Yeah, some great Disruptor hits going off at the beginning of that fight, but a lot of gateway units going down in exchange for it. The Bioforce is stimmed up and ready to pounce. The Liberators also sieging on up. EMP is going off on literally everything, and we see Maru starting to double Creator in supply. That engagement was not the engagement the Creator was looking for, and he is going to have to tap out. GG. Maru takes the first game.
Past the Liberator as well. That is very unfortunate for Creator.
Creator missing it, and also now not going to actually find the main source, the bulk of the army making its way forward to the front. Ben, I don't see a shield battery at the front. That concerns me right now.
Oh, and even more than that, depowering this this Immortal from popping out. And these Phoenix, they're dealing with this army at the front. There's still a Widowmine that's not yet blown up, meaning these Phoenix, they can't do anything. Liberator in the main. This is where we could see Creator start to fall apart here.
Oh, Creator finally just looked at the main base. He sees the Liberator. He's pulling away from those units. The shield battery finishes up inside the natural expansion as well, but he is going to get just target fire down, and Maru is out for blood. Already sitting up 1-0. He goes up 2-0. Amazing start there for Maru.
What he's going for.
Yeah.
But this, you know, taking that Widowmine that had a shot available, I think that was a bit of a mistake from Maru, actually. Yeah. But the tank is out, won't be dealing too much damage for Creator, but he's definitely given away what he's going for, which is a lot of aggression.
Yeah, bit funny that we end up seeing that, and now we end up having the recall back. Should be able to deal with both the Widowmine and the Medevac. Medevac does actually manage to escape out of there alive narrowly, although it is quite low on hit points, might be sniped off a bit later. Queen-based composition, which don't exactly have a fun time trying to push back this Colossus drop.
And that's some nice juggling as well to get some extra shots off there. 5 SCVs going down immediately. And this Raven, yeah, Creator's not falling for it. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to lift up my Colossus. And if you do, try and go for the Warp Prism. I'm going to pick up my Colossus right before. That's a great, that's the best start that Creator's had in this series thus far. He's playing an infuriating playstyle.
He is going to have a very scary army in terms of those disruptors. And on the bridge actually is a great place to abuse this. I love the meeting out here in the middle of the map at the choke point, slowing down this attack. Already, Creator is actually just buying himself time, which is exactly what he needs to be doing. He also spots out the double drop heading over into the main base. How well Creator splits up his units is going to be of the utmost importance, especially since he's supply blocked right now.
Okay, Creator doesn't want to make Maru go down to that south part of the map, because that is absolutely his lifeline here. I mean, Creator is actually far ahead in supply, and his army is scary, but in a head-on engagement, could be not what he's after, but with an engagement like this, lovely disruptor shots, and look at that, he's coming in from the right side as well.
He finds the siege tanks on siege, gets magnificent disruptor shots, and forces the army back through the north side, so he doesn't actually end up spotting out the gold base. This could not have actually gone better for Creator than just how it all played out right then and there. And Archon even picking off some of the units still on the retreat back. So many charge lots have actually been warped in at this point. Creator has hit his critical mass, and he is ready to go for it. This is still an awkward angle to try and jump up to, but in reality, Creator is still on 3 bases versus a 2-base Maru. He doesn't actually need to move in.
If he wants to win this, he has to go to the super late game, which he knows, and he's willing to do that. Oh, Maru, no! Oh, my goodness.
Well, you know, the little icing on the cake there is that Maru was actually busy microing 2 Marines to go down to the gold base. He spots that out, but he's also going to have to be dealing with this attack, so it doesn't matter what's happening to the gold. What matters is happening at this 3rd base location. These disruptors absolutely annihilating the army of Maru. The SCVs have nowhere to run, and neither does Maru. Creator puts one on the board. But he had very greedily teched up to 3 additional disruptors. We're going to keep an eye out on that production tab to see what he's doing behind all this, because already a good start, finding 3 SCVs and keeping that Warp Prism alive. The addition of this Cyclone to try and do a little bit of extra damage, also trying to get the lock onto the Observer, interestingly enough, is going to be able to find that.
That was awesome, by the way. Like, moving back the Cyclone, but moving the Raven toward the Observer.
Already sieging up over here for Maru, and we're going to see Creator trying to meet this army down here on the low ground. A nice spread over here from Maru with a lot of these units. The Colossus doing a lot of damage from the back lines, but once that gateway front line is taken care of, there's not a lot to protect those Colossus, so they have to back up, and Creator has to buy himself some more time to warp in more units, but he's only got 3 warp gates right now.
Fun choice, by the way, to go for the turrets, right? Dealt a lot of damage, did some tanking as well. Maru getting in between the bases here with these tanks, and the Colossus from the north moving down that ramp. That's going to be a big target for Maru. Creator's trying to micro on 2 fronts here. He's also losing a lot of probes somewhere. I don't exactly know where that's going on, but Maru dealing a lot of damage here at this front. Cybernetics core goes down as well. It looks like something happened in the natural.
Yeah, some kind of big damage happening, but right now we see now the Warp Prism trying to micro both the Immortal and the Colossus, trying to sneak an attack on the Siege Tanks, not able to find it, loses one of the Colossus. The Immortal also having a hard time finding the connections on those Siege Tanks. Another Siege Tank moves forward. Maru already climbing a bit in supply.
He can't warp in Stalkers. He's got no Cybernetics core. This?
Oh no.
Like, this Viking goes absolutely uncontested. Creator knows it, so he has to sneak them on out of there, but this is a horrible position to be in for Creator.
There's literally not a unit that he can make to deal with the Viking, and the Warp Prism goes down, the Colossus goes down, the stutter-stepping Marines take out the final Colossus, and Maru takes out Creator 3-1.
Get rid of this Overlord, push the creep back a little bit, just take this bottom right corner out of the equation for at least the foreseeable future. He's also going to get rid of some of that creep in the middle of the map, which is obviously really nice to do as well, just taking map control away from Dark. It's a small map, so creep gets across very quickly, and that's a second Overlord kill as well, so it's a great first drop from Maru. So going into his +2 melee, I imagine his +2 Carapace will be very soon to follow, accompanied now by Banelin Speed on the way. And we actually have a little bit of a run by coming through. Now Maru's army is still nearby on the left side. That upper left pulse is maybe a little bit overwhelmed. He's got a few helis to help out too, and Maru's just going to stand and fight it. He can lift up when he feels he needs to. That's going to be now, but already 9-10 SCVs going down.
What a crazy attack, just mass Zerglings right with 1-1 finishing. He says, guess what? You don't have your upgrades yet. I do. Even getting a few depots on top of it. Maru stims his entire drop home just to reestablish control over his third base. And Dark behind it, 66 workers. He's still not playing a high worker count because he wants to always have just a huge army, a very mineral-focused force, and that's going to give him enough numbers to both defend the drops and backstab at will. King Dark second-guessed himself, and I think for good reason. These drops are very annoying. Oh, he's going for it. Dark's going for it. He's pulling the trigger, and he's going to dive on that third base. The tank's trying to defend in the natural and in the high ground, but a bunch of them going down. Baneling's breaching the natural wall.
Oh no, I mean, Maru has to completely evacuate the third base. A surprisingly low amount of workers going down so far, but you know what? There's still Ling Bane here, and it's in the natural expansion now. Maru has too many units out on the map, and Dark is just going to crush on through. Those upgrade timings in this game were deadly. First 1-1, gets a great trade, then 2-2, a game-ending battle.
Ling Bane, he's going to go for the huge backstab.
Oh,
the door's
no.
open. It's open. Maru completely caught with his pants down.
He's going to do nothing against the Queens on the other side. He's into the main base as well with just a few Lings. The SCV massacre is going to be very real. One Widow Mine does connect, but also on the SCVs. Maru is in so much trouble. 26 workers, and Dark is just demolishing him here in game number 2. He's not even used Banelings yet, but now he's got a couple ready to go, as he's going to use these over here to help out against the Marines, and Maru just cannot catch a break. Down 30 workers now in this game.
Oh, this is such a brutal timing. 2 games in a row. There's no way Maru was expecting it. It's a surprise tactic. He does it a second time in a row, catches Maru with even more damage than the previous game, and Maru is going to be just thrown through a loop. This is devastating. Dark going first, just annihilating him. Sami is just going to get way bigger than his very quickly.
Lings is going to hit this, wall off, but Banes are here to bust it down as well. Widowmine on the side at least stops a few of these Banes. He splits against the next one. Only one Bane falls, and now we are once again here to fight. These Widowmines go down before they can shoot, and this third base is just once again fully evacuated. We're killing units across the map as well, and Dark is on a hot streak already, 2-0, and boy, is he making it look easy. As yet, I just don't think it's a bad assumption to make, so let's see what he can do.
Oh,
These
my
mutas
lord.
are about to show up.
Oh, they're going to do so much, Wardy. They're going to do so much damage. There is no missile turrets. There's 1 Viking and 10 Marines with no stim. They fly in the back and they find a bunch of fresh mules and SCVs. So much damage already. 8 SCVs falling.
Yeah, I mean, Maru's face instantly was like, oh, come on, right? Like, he just knew the moment these flew in that this was already going to be bad for him. 10, 11, 12 SCVs going down, a few Marines as well, and we're just getting started, really. These mutas, they've not really taken any damage. They've still got full life on them. Gonna find some SCVs at the front, and once again, Dark is just finding early advantages to play with here. I mean, this is a reckoning. Just gonna start pushing through this center of the map. He turns back around to try and protect the siege tank. 1 muta goes down, but so does one of the tanks, and the less splash damage there is, the tougher this is going to be. Dark wastes no time at all, and jumping on this, the Banes start to connect, and he is going to continue to chase for wraparound. Now, those Marines should be okay for now, but without any tanks, moving back on creep is going to be so dangerous. Next wave of Ling Bane ready to go, and Maru is turning around to run.
I think, yes, you want to take advantage of the window. The window is closed, and Dark is going to close his jaws on top of this army.
Here we go. Mutas, Lings, Banes crashing into the army of Maru, and there's just nothing he can do. He tries to run, but every single medevac is left exposed. There's a few Marines that do get to survive this, but look at the damage dealt. The tank's all gone. The medevac count, actually better than I thought it would be. A couple of those survived on low HP, but the problem is Dark is already built into the next wave of this that's going to come crashing on through. 46 Lings, 14 Banes, and keep those workers on as well. Trying to set off this Widowmine here as he sends a few Banes forward, softens up Marauders, which isn't exactly ideal for the Banes. Got a couple Corruptors coming out, something a bit sturdier in the sky to keep working through those medevacs during the fight. He sends some units forward again. He's got a massive counter-attack of Banelings. 16 going down, and here comes the main attack now as well. Does he have enough over here? The couple mutas do what they can, but it's so many Marines, and Maru is not going to be stopped. Dark will not be able to stop him at all, and it looks like Maru will power through to potentially win Game 3.
A 2-hit point Thor surviving in the midst of that. So much bio, heavily wounded, but not done yet. And we see the power of this army. I mean, was that Baneling run by awesome? Yes, but you're damaging an already super wounded economy. I think Dark needed to give up that base and fall back.
Yeah, give up, fall back, deal with the one big fight. Just get as much up as possible right then and there. He's still trying to deal damage to Maru. He's on 13 SCVs. You don't need to. He just needs to live, but he doesn't have the unit count. Widowmines are stopping Banelings from morphing in. Maru is continuing to push on forward into this natural. Queens are in trouble. The handful of Banelings will not do anything here, and Maru pulls it back to keep this grand finals lively. On the bottom side, the BCs have found one building hatchery, and they're going to move across for another. Again, we don't have those Corruptors outright to deal with this, so it's just Queens chasing battlecruisers down. And of course, we do just have a teleport away at a moment's notice if you need to get those BCs out of there. For now, they just sit here and get a gas geyser right. Just little things that are going to add up in Maru's favor. He's going to continue through to the main, and this is just damage that Dark is not dealing well with.
I mean, Queen's just not great for dealing with it. He doesn't have any supply free is the problem. If they kill some drones, you can replace them with Corruptors, but right now, Maru, this is the battlecruiser tax that you have to pay. If you don't have Neural Parasite and Burrow to deal with those, they have to pay that tax. Locust still being microed in surprisingly well, considering he's busy at home. And look at that, Banelings will bust the planetary. Nice move for Dark. Can he get the SCVs?
Oh, he's going to get a few of them. 13 go down. Man, that other CC was moments away from finishing and maybe could have just lifted and gotten out of trouble. Now Maru will not have as easy a cleanup over... replacement he does file into the BCs, and Maru getting a little bit over-eager with the move forward there with the teleport on top of that army.
He can't have Dark just knocking on the door, throwing those Locusts into his base for free like this. It's way too much damage that he's taking. Yet this army, this does not inspire fear and confidence, Wardy. It's a pack of ghosts, a lot of Hellbats, only a few tanks and battlecruisers. That being said, what does Dark have? Mass Baneling. Mass Baneling counters all of those Hellbats and Ghosts just fine.
Yeah, and this is all going to happen on creep, remember, so these Banes are going to be speedy as they start to move on through. The tanks will have to do some defending here. Banes from the other side as well. The Ghosts are being connected into, as we do have a little bit of Roach Ravager left. The BC sitting overhead. Dark does not have much money to rebuild with. He is a little bit ahead on army supply, but these Ghosts are still finding value. The Lings will not do very well, and these battle cruisers just keep sitting here.
Oh my lord. Dark did not actually... He's got the Swarm Host, which can try to break out with the Roaches and the Lings and the Banes coming out. There's still nothing that shoots up, though, except a few Queens. Finally, Dark is going to build some Corruptors. The Battlecruiser is definitely a big nuisance. Remember that Maru's economy, it is so small right now. The Locusts are going to force Maru back, at least temporarily, but they will expire. And the Battlecruiser is going to take out one of Dark's bases. Dark, he's got a bit of damage that's being taken. He's got to chase the army down. These Corruptors could not arrive soon enough this game. But here at the 25-minute mark, it looks like Dark is finally closing in on the victory.
Here we go with these Locusts looking to punish right now as Maru doesn't have many Hellbats here. The tanks at least on siege, not much friendly fire. The top side of the map, though, is being decimated. The worker count falling even lower for Maru. Gonna go below 20. Drops isn't good. Never mind, he's gonna have any workers left. 3 workers remain as the Banelings find the money shot. And Maru's on a march down the bottom right, but I think it's too late. Not enough army supply here. He's going to snipe up at the top and away at these Corruptors, but his bases are lost. The workers are gone, and Maru has nigh on nothing. Dark needs to clean up one more army, and this game is his, and he'll be on match and tournament point.
This is such good play from Dark, showing us how to pick apart the mech and wear it down. The Swarmos, Nidus, the Queens, the Ravagers, the Lings, and the Banes constantly going in. And the Locust micro has just been so on point. The way he was splitting those Locusts up all through the early stages, trying to avoid the Hellbats. Even Fungal coming in there to add insult to injury. And Dark, he will not be stopped in this grand finals.
5 Roaches for now. Drops heading into the main base. And Maru behind this is even going to add in the Raven with his Hellions moving through the center. One Ling going to spot those.
Oh, the drop in the main does come on in. Widowmine starting. The Marines there as well. The Widowmine with a quick unburrow there, though. Not wanting to accidentally fire on a single drone. The Marines do take a fair bit of damage, or at least the medevac does. They have to evacuate for now. Hellions on the front looking for a potential drive-by. But they run into these Roaches. Luckily for Maru, a Banshee is already in production. He starts a bunker at home. He's already got a 3rd command center building up in the high ground, so that's a very safe position.
It is going to be Maru continue to push tanks forward. This base really feels like it's going to be impossible to hold on to. Let's see if we can find a way. Bane speed is not far away. 7 Banes on the way up. We're still not quite at the 2-2 upgrades, though. The base will go down. Doc gives it up, but those are the Banelings, and they are under fire. They're going to finish and roll into the army as Bane speed finishes. I mean, it's a nice moment as the corrosive bars land on the medevacs, but Maru is feeling as though he's just got enough of an advantage. He keeps on chasing this down, and he believes he can end this game right here and now. And he might not be wrong. The bio keeps on coming through. Extra tanks sieging up. A few Lings do stream in. Dog really trying to refuse to die. Great blinding cloud, but it's his final act in this game. Maru wants to play more StarCraft here. Moved it back in to see exactly what's going on. He's playing on assumptions at this point, but Maru's switch up might just be perfect to take us to a Game 7. Dark is building Lings now. The Bane Nest is almost done, but like you said, it's an eternity until Baneling speed.
Yeah, it hasn't even started yet, so it's all about the Zerglings. The push is already here. Dark needs to go across the map and cut off the reinforcement, and then get ready to flank. He cannot engage this from one side. Giving up the fourth is almost a necessity. He goes in, he gets on top of the siege tank.
I mean, he gets on top of the siege tank as the Marines, though, clean up all of those Zerglings. Maru pulls back here just for a moment, will go the other way. That was before +1 for Maru. That was before combat shield, so that's something to keep in mind. Those upgrades weren't there just yet, but they will be here in just a couple of seconds. Maru's pushing forward. He sees the Banelings morphing, and he will have his reinforcements arriving very soon. They're on their way over, about to reach this middle bridge. A random Baneling gets caught from behind.
Bane speed has not started just yet. There we go. It does start up, sorry. And the +1 armor's on the way. Maru has not started the third command center. He hasn't added reactors on his last 2 barracks. Now he snipes this base off, but that is far from the victory. This is exactly what Dark needed to do.
Maru is still pushing in. Baneling speed is not quite there. Maru just has to get out of the way of these few Banes. Now they go off. New Baneling starting, but he doesn't currently have many Banes. He only has 4 ready to go. Maru will see the Banes on that ramp. He knows the situation. This is it from Dark, trying to move in. His Lings get caught on the tank from behind, and the Marines are just unstoppable.
This is just too much from Maru. A beautiful push, taking advantage of these positions. Dark not having the numbers to deal with it. And the delayed Baneling speed there. Maru happy to take advantage and set up in some killer positions. Lost it with Queens, right? A Queen and mass slow Zergling, but with 2 bunkers up? There's no way.
No.
This is a really weird reaction from Dark. Maru piling on the pressure in Game 7 of this Grand Finals. There's so much on the line. I don't know if Dark has the right response.
I mean, it's just weird because he never had a gas early, right? It was hatch pool and then another hatchery, but that just means you don't have gas for a counterattack either, so that's one less thing Maru has to worry about here. This hatchery is just going to go down. Maru must know that Dark is planning to re-expand in the main. Otherwise, I guess he could maybe assume potentially it's some kind of roach counter, but I feel like you'd start to see those soon. As time ticks by, Maru should know roughly what Dark is doing.
Built for these maps. He is so well prepared for Stargazers. Right now, loading up a massive Ling drop in the north of the map, and it is heading towards that natural 1 Baneling hidden in there as well. Maru's got a big attack on the front at the same time.
Yeah, he's got to deal with multiple places. Tanks getting blinding clouded, but he does hit an EMP, so only 2 of the tanks blinding clouded, but Ravager Bowls are hitting the rest of them. It's a big, messy fight, but it's the Lings and the natural that are going to do the damage. 12 SCVs going down, but all of these Ravagers keep on falling. Massive piles at the end there, though. 14 SCVs, Ling's still not dealt with, and Dark has taken a humongous lead.
6 siege stacks going down. SCVs getting torn up in the main, and the natural goes trying to come back. Maru did not see this coming. Nobody uses Zergling drops like this, but Dark surprising his opponent, burrowing Zerglings in all the different bases. He is playing a wily, sneaky style Ultralisk transition on the way behind it. Just when it felt like Maru was stabilizing, getting towards a 5th expansion, getting his ghost count up, Dark brings out all of the surprises.
Scans needed to clean out these Lings as well, which is just frustrating at this point. He's finally going to stop it, but those dropper lords are still alive, so there's nothing stopping Dark loading up and trying to go again and make, apart from maybe the threat of ghost sniping those overlords down before they get there. And those Lings on the ramp are just watching to see when Maru has brought everything out of the main base. Dark is maxed out, and Dark is readying himself to go once more.
It's going in towards the space, and even that's enough to easily beat a siege tank. This is just going to cause a distraction. It's basically free. Huge attack on the front at the same time.
Oh, Maru only had one of his tanks siege. The other does get there, but it's taken down so quickly. It doesn't feel like enough bio right now. He's running to the planetary fortress looking for aid, but Dark is going to rampage through. The Banelings are not being stopped. Goodbye, planetary. Goodbye, SCVs. 47 workers.
Oh, my
he
Lord.
makes it 50. Dark is going to win Valencia.